Hello, you're watching Bearwood West Yard. In this video I'm going to be conducting an unboxing and review of the brand new Hattons Class 66 diesel locomotive. So straight out of the parcel you get the box. I was actually rather surprised at the size of the box, as it is considerably larger than the existing Bachmann Class 66 box, to the point where even on the X, the Y and the Z, it's larger on all fronts. So let's take the top of the lid off. This is very similar to what Helgen have done, so a lift up top box, and also the packaging as well is very similar. I don't know whether this foam is designed as anti-static or whether it's just normal protective foam. Either way, lift that off and we get a very nice little Class 66 operating instructions booklet, of which, if we look on the back, you get some warranty information. So I'd be quite pleased to hear that if you ever have an issue with the model in the first 12 months, your locomotive is guaranteed to be under warranty. And that is, open it from the front now. It's got a lovely contents page, the how to remove the body shell, fitting a decoder, and also the lighting as well, as this is the first model, I believe, which you can run by setting the daylights and night lights, and also you can have both ends having rear lights on them as well. So instructions for removing the body shell and that, and also changing the air dams as well. So there's a little accessory pack in here. And then there's, with the lighting, there's several pages of it. One for if you're running the locomotive analogue, and then several others for depending on what type of digital decoder you're using, whether you're using the Locksound 5 sound decoder, or whether you're using a 4 or 6 function digital decoder. This is the standard decoder that Hattons are fitting into their Class 66s. The one in front of you, this is XEWS with DB markings, 66088. That is digital fitted. So let's take her out the box. Right, so taking the locomotive out of the packaging, it's quite simple. Just have to pull it out. Might have to give it a little bit of force, but not too much. And you see that it's in the standard ice cube packaging, as per usual for most brand new models. And then before I take it out, you see that in the top there is what looks to be a very, and also in the bottom, a very fine sponge. I believe this is, none of the other manufacturers do this, but it seems as if these are just spacers. They're actually quite rock solid as well. Almost seems as if there's spacers to make sure that the insert goes into the ice cube, and that without damaging it, and that's so it goes in correctly. On top you get, as I was saying before about air dams, so if we look at the accessory kit, so another is another NEM coupling. So there's another NEM coupling, and also the two air dams still there, so that's buffer beams. So they're included in the detailing pack, along with some more air pipes as well. Right, now for the big unboxing. Turn that over. Quite nice. They've also included a upgraded flick for the ice cube for the insert, and then some really nice cellophane to pack it up in. And doesn't she look spectacular? Take her out. She is incredibly heavy. It is very heavy. Look at that. Can instantly tell the difference between a Bachmann model and the Hattons 66, and that just by looking at the front of it, and like just see how much sharper the detail is, and the tooling as well, which I'll put it up against my current EWS 66 by Bachmann. I'll put it up against that very shortly. Focus. But in the review that was done by Richard at Everard Junction, he did highlight that there are lots and lots of small details that are there, and he was not kidding. I haven't broken any off or anything, but I'd say that be incredibly careful when handling it. It's like I'm handling it by the fuel tank, just simply so that I don't get anywhere near the bogies and the axles. Right, let's put her on the layout, and as she's digital fitted, she should run just straight out of the box. So I'll put her up against a Bachmann 66 and we'll see how the two compare. So now in the yard, I've put the Hattons model up against the Bachmann model, and we're going to do a comparison. Now, the first thing that I notice is the colour difference. The Bachmann model is significantly darker in terms of the maroon, the gold and the yellow ends, whereas the Hattons model is a lot more vibrant and I would say more accurate to the prototype locomotive. The detail as well is a lot different. So on the Bachmann model, you can tell that the detail isn't as crisp and that the tooling is definitely getting a bit outdated, whereas on the new Hattons model, everything looks so crisp, so sharp, and you can just tell on the headlights that there's a lot more depth to them, and it looks a whole lot better in my opinion. Let's move on to the side. Moving on to the side of the Bachmann model, you can see that there's not a lot of detail around the bogies, and what detail there is moulded on. And if we look especially in the sandboxes just above the fuel tank, although there is only one because they're incredibly fragile, it seems almost as if the sandboxes were placed a couple of degrees out, just so that it was easier to put on, or so that there was less detail was visible. And then in comparison to the Hattons model, the detail is simply astonishing. And then speaking about the sandboxes, you can just see the difference where you've actually got the little hatches where you'd fill them up with sand, as opposed to on the Bachmann model where those hatches simply just go up into the side of the body. Now the final thing I'm going to do in this review is I'm going to do a small little weight test to see which one is heavier. So starting with the Bachmann model, that is fairly weighty, as most people who own a 66 will know the weight of the Bachmann model. So that is relatively weighty, and then the Hattons 66 I would say is about 50% heavier. There is so much weight to that motor and all the operating gear inside it. Right, let's take her for a little spin. This is 66593. This is my other Hattons Class 66 purchase. This is on a rake of 13 HIA Freightliner heavy haul aggregate wagons. It seems to be pulling these absolutely fine. And these were for my Bachmann Class 66s. These were a little bit of a challenge, as were the two Network Rail MRA side tippler sets, of which I'm yet to try them on. So you've seen 66593 pull 13 HIAs with ease. Let's see how this 13 gets off from a standing start with two full MRA sets behind it. Again, with ease. No problems, no nothing. No wheel spinning, no noises or signs of mechanical difficulty. I cannot get over how powerful this locomotive is. If you're one of the modelers who enjoys running very long freight trains, which can also get quite heavy with every wagon that you add, if you want to say recreate the Mendip Stone trains, I would highly recommend getting hold of one of these Hattons 66s. They're incredibly powerful and they're pretty much the same price as what Bachmann would be advertising, so you get a lot more bang for your buck, as the saying goes. I'm going to leave the talking there for this video, and I'm going to just end the video on a series of some running shots. So I hope you enjoyed this unboxing and review video and found it useful, and if you're thinking of buying a 66 in January when the main batch comes in and this review you found helpful, then I'm glad that this video has been of use to you. So yeah, I'll leave it there for the talking, and I'll give you some running shots. So thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video.